This video, I'll show you how to use the metric filter that we found from the Walk Forward Metric Explorer file, output file. But first, before we can use it on our current data so that we can trade, next week or on our out of sample data, we have to generate a file with the Walk Forward with the Power Walk Forward Optimizer. So in order to do that, as you can see on the format, I set the in order to set to generate a file that will only load the last 30 days up to the point that we have our data. So this particular data is located, it only goes up to 5/26, 2017. So I want to generate the Power Walk Forward Optimizer various metrics only on the 30 days ending on 5/26/87. I mean, sorry, 17. So in order to do that, in order to do that, what I do is change this to 0, click OK, and then when you run this file here, in other words, I'll optimize this over the previous ranges that I did in the original paper that generated all the files that we saw in the previous video. As you can see, then you would just press OK. And since I already did this, I'm not going to rewrite it over. Then I'd have to wait for it to finish. But instead, I'll just put the status of this off. But when you run this, then it will generate a file that we will see shortly. That we can find the set of inputs that satisfies our metric filter to generate the strategy inputs that we should use on the next week out. So I'm going to show you that shortly after I close these files. The file that was generated from that TradeStation run, as you can see, it's different than the usual files, and it has RT here, which stands for real time. And what that means is that if we go all the way to the end, as you can see, the out of sample and all the other out of sample variables are 0. That's because right now we're at the end of the data. In other words, the data that was examined was 4/27/17 through 5/26/17, and that was the end of the data when I did this. So now what we have to do, if you look at the previous file, this is the file that was generated, the last Power Walk Forward Optimizer file that was generated. So as you can see, it went from 420 to 519, with the out of sample section being 5/26. So that data was already analyzed by the Walk Forward, or included by the Walk Forward Metric Explorer when it examined the 304 files. This was the 304th file. If I go back here to this, now we want to discover, well, what set of inputs should I use in my next week strategy? And in order to do that, there's an add-on that I've included, this little metric box. You will click that, and up pops this little XLA file. I've already put in the numbers, which was the filter that we previously had. In other words, the bottom total losing bars, we wanted the problem factor to be less than or equal to 4, losers in a row less than or equal to 5, and R2 less than or equal to 90. And the final metric at the end was equity 2V. So when we click Run Filter, boom, it shows you the one line in the output that satisfies these filter requirements. So next week we should, excuse me, next week in the strategy we should set the power equal to 3, N as the look back period of 40, V up 1.25, and V down 2.25. And that will be the set of inputs that we should use to trade our strategy in the next week. And so we would do this every week. Every Friday, all my data is usually ends on a Friday because that's when the currencies close. And so every week on Friday or Saturday, I would run the Power Walk Forward Optimizer with the out of sample day equal to 0. It would generate that file that you saw previously. I would run the this little XLA file on that particular file, and boom, it would then pop up the strategy inputs to the strategy that you're using, that you should use in the future. So I mean, basically that concludes how to use the add-on to find out what inputs you should use. Also, there's this round circle. When you click it, it gives you back the original file. In other words, for the previous XLA file, just eliminated all the lines except the one you should use. But if you wanted to look at the file instead of reloading it, you would just hit that particular red circle with a slash to it. Anyway, that concludes how to use the Walk Forward Metric Explorer. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at support@Myers Analytics, or to call me anytime after noon, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.